The quarterback position is without a doubt one of the most important, if not the most important position in all of sports, and in today's NFL, it's pretty much a prerequisite in order to compete for a championship. You have to have a franchise quarterback. There are, of course, exceptions, but for the most part, you need to have one of the top guys to compete for the Lombardi Trophy year in and year out. And in today's video, we're going to be ranking the top 10 quarterbacks entering the 2023 NFL season. There will be a lot of disagreements on this list, I'm sure, so let me know what we agree on, what we do not agree on, and some quarterbacks you think were snubbed from today's video. Remember, there's only 10 spots and not every quarterback can be a top 10 player, so with that preface out of the way, let's begin. And we are starting today's video with Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins. Kirk is a good quarterback, and in 2022, Kirk finished 4th in passing yards and 5th in passing touchdowns, as the Vikings were on their way to a 13-win season. In a year, Kirk would go on to lead 8 game-winning drives. In his first year with head coach Kevin O'Connell, Kirk threw for over 4,500 yards and made the Pro Bowl for the 4th time in his career. And over the years, there's been a lot of boisterous opinions on Kirk, whether it's he's awful under pressure or he crumbles in big games, and you get the point. And for what it's worth, Kirk actually finished 5th in the NFL in completion percentage under pressure in 2022. But the general consensus on Kirk has changed a bit over the past 2 years or so, and typically now he's a good quarterback, but he'll never be good enough to win a ring, where it used to be he has to have everything right for him to succeed, as if other quarterbacks could lead a team to a dynasty with a very poor supporting cast. Kirk threw a career-high 14 interceptions in 2022, and that's a number I expect to go down this year. I think Kirk is in for a big year in 2023, and he comes in today's video at number 10. Staying in the NFC for number 9, and it is Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys. Like with Kirk, there's a lot to break down with Dak, and there's always a narrative around Dak. And 2022 was a great year for Cowboy haters because Dak did not have a great year all things considered, and having him number 9 entering the 23 season means I do believe he will bounce back this year, but some of the most frustrating things Prescott did in 2022 are very fixable and things that I'm sure he's addressed this offseason. On some of the interceptions Dak threw last year, he determined where he was going before the ball was snapped, and it truly did not matter what the defense was doing. If Dak wanted to go there, he was going there. And this was after a year in which Dak had the best statistical season of his career, as he would complete nearly 69% of his passes and throw for nearly 4,500 yards along with 37 touchdowns. Dak has a true number 1 receiver in CeeDee Lamb and will certainly look to improve on his league-leading interception total from 1 year ago. I don't think Dak will ever have a 4-interception season like he did back in his rookie year back in 2016, but I do think Dak can be close to the player he was in 2021. And from Dallas to the Big Apple, we go to discuss the number 8 quarterback who is also wearing number 8 this year, and it's Aaron Rodgers of the Jets. Aaron declined quite a bit statistically from 2021 to 22, and there were a few reasons for that. One of the best receivers in all of football, in Davante Adams, who Aaron said was the best teammate he ever played with, became a Raider, and Rodgers' top 3 receivers in 22 were Allen Lazard, a rookie Christian Watson, and tight end Robert Tonyan. The talent Green Bay had for Rodgers to throw to last year was not good, and it shouldn't have been a surprise to see Rodgers decline from 21 to 22. And because Aaron is in his late 30s and will turn 40 during the 2023 season, people expect him to continue to decline, but I think he'll actually improve from last year to this year. And he didn't accidentally throw for 85 touchdowns to just 9 interceptions in a 2-year span between 2020 and 2021. Some people are out on Aaron Rodgers this year, and I'm not really sure why, as he's getting a number 1 receiver to throw to in Garrett Wilson, and will have a good ground game to lean on led by Breece Hall. I still think Rodgers very much has it, and I think he'll throw for 30 touchdowns for the 3rd time in 4 years. Heading way down I-95 for number 7, and it's Trevor Lawrence of the Jags. Trevor had one of the most nightmare rookie years imaginable, and it was bad from start to finish. The most positive thing about his rookie season was when it was announced Urban Meyer was fired. Heading into 2022, there was a lot of pressure not just on Trevor, but on everyone in the Jags organization. Could they have already screwed up the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck? And with Doug Peterson as the head coach, Trevor improved vastly in year 2 as he threw for over 4,000 yards, had 25 touchdowns, and had an additional 5 rushing touchdowns. 2022 was where we saw Trevor break out, and it's only expected to continue in the future. And a lot of people are projecting him to have a very bright future, and rightfully so, but heading into 2023, I don't want to say I'm down on Trevor because being a top 7 quarterback is very impressive, but I'm not as high on Trevor at the moment compared to a lot of other people. I think he'll throw for 30 touchdowns this year and continue to be a good player, but I'm not ready to put him above number 6 on today's list, and that is Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. Lamar can certainly be a controversial player to discuss among fans, as some people don't think the Ravens will ever win a Super Bowl with Lamar, but in 2022, minus the final game against the Broncos in which he only played 10 snaps, Lamar was on pace for a 4,500 total yard season, along with 31 total touchdowns. And for as fun as Justin Fields was to watch last year with all of the highlight runs he had, Lamar was actually on pace to rush for more yards than Fields did last year, while still throwing for 26 touchdowns. Comparing Lamar's stats to Burrow or Mahomes is never going to be fair, isn't the right word, but it's similar to comparing Christian McCaffrey's rushing yards to Derrick Henry's, if that makes sense. Lamar is a one-on-one player, and it's unfortunate how each of his last 2 seasons have ended, but with the help he has around him, 2023 should be a big year for him and the Ravens. Yes, Lamar has some very bad moments and some throws he'd certainly like back, but he can make plays that maybe 1 or 2 players in NFL history can, and he comes in today's video at number 6. And we are starting the top 5 with Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen entered 2022 with one thing on his mind, and that was to prove he could be the franchise quarterback for the Eagles and play at a high level, and he knew heading into the year that if he did, there was a good chance he would be compensated with a hefty contract after the season, and, well, that's exactly what happened. He finished second in MVP voting as he was on his way to a 35 total touchdown season, which included 13 rushing touchdowns alone. The Eagles were 14-1 in the regular season with Hurts as their starter, and they were a pain for opposing teams to play all year long. Hurts is a great player by himself, but it is also fair to say that having a great offensive line along with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Dallas Goedert certainly made his life easier. Both of those things can be true, and Jalen didn't accidentally walk into the year he had in 2022. His work ethic is extremely well noted, and he will be the Eagles quarterback for a long time. And there's going to be a lot of traveling for the Final Four quarterbacks, but we are headed to LA to discuss Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers. There seems to be a crowd that thinks Herbert is a volume stat patter or just a big numbers guy, and I think that's very disrespectful to his game and everything he does for the Chargers. People occasionally bring up his lifetime record of 25-24, or bring up that the Chargers blew the lead against the Jags in the playoffs, and somehow when they bring that up, Justin was playing all 11 spots on defense, and it's his and only his fault. But in all seriousness, Herbert has the most passing yards of any quarterback through the first 3 years of their career, with over 14,000, and has 94 passing touchdowns. He will play this year at 25 years old, and it's a very fun time to be a Chargers fan, because you presumably have another decade, if not decade and a half, with Justin. His stats declined in 2022, but I don't really hold that against him, considering his top 2 receivers missed time, and Herbert dealt with his fair share of injuries himself. My favorite Herbert play sequence from 2022 was getting drilled late in the game against the Chiefs, throwing the ball away the next play thinking he's going to have to come out, then ripping a pass with velocity that a lot of guys simply do not have in their tool bag. Unfortunately for Herbert, unless he gets a Super Bowl title, because of the era he plays in, I think a lot of his career will go underappreciated, but he enters 2023 as the number 4 guy. This may be a controversial take, but we are going to Cincinnati to discuss number 3, and it's Joe Burrow of the Bengals. Burrow comes in at number 3 after back-to-back 34-plus touchdown seasons and back-to-back double-digit win seasons with the Bengals. Burrow is a precision passer, and having two players in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins certainly complement his play style and make his job a lot easier. This, of course, doesn't take anything away from Burrow, as he still has to get the ball to them, and over the last 2 years, Burrow has completed passes at over 69% and has thrown 69 touchdowns to just 26 interceptions. Burrow had a ridiculous adjusted completion percentage of 71.6% in 2022, which ranked 4th in the entire NFL. That was also under pressure, by the way. He doesn't panic, he makes big plays, and thinking out loud for a minute, I think we would all be very surprised if the Bengals do not win at least one Super Bowl during the Joe Burrow era. Burrow will receive a contract extension at some point, and the only question will be, how much is he getting? He played a major role in turning around a franchise that was down in the dumps for a few years prior to drafting him, and he gives the Bengals a chance to win on any given Sunday. And from Cincinnati to Buffalo, we go to discuss Josh Allen. I know some people are not going to agree with Allen over Burrow, but it's not, or at least it shouldn't be, a hot take to say Josh Allen does a lot of things that Joe Burrow simply can't. Allen is a dual-threat player that can throw the ball a country mile, and he is quietly in the midst of 3 straight 40-plus total touchdown seasons. Like with Burrow, Allen gives the Bills a chance in the postseason every single year, and there's games Allen plays that look like a legitimate highlight reel. There's no throw Josh can't make, and the only thing you can really get on him about is turnovers. He gets too aggressive at times, but with that aggression comes the highlight reel plays. So in a lot of ways for Josh, it's a double-edged sword, but from a franchise's standpoint, it's one they're certainly willing to risk. If he stays healthy this year, I would be surprised if Josh doesn't have his 4th straight 40 total touchdown season. We have finally got the number 1, and it is CJ Stroud of the Texans. Wait, wrong list. Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes' accolades since taking over as the Chiefs starting quarterback in 2018 are nothing short of incredible. He's a 2-time league MVP, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, a 2-time Super Bowl MVP, and if he retired today, he would be a Hall of Famer 5 years after he retires, and this is all before his 28th birthday. The Chiefs are 64-16 when Mahomes starts lifetime, and have a win percentage of .800 is, well, insane, and it starts to show how dominant he is as a player. When you see a 3 or 4 minute Patrick Mahomes highlight reel, and hell, this could be from any 4 or 5 game stretch throughout any part of any season, a lot of the plays he makes would be in guys' career highlight reels, not just through any quarter of any season. There's a reason the media talks about him the way they do, and out of any of the rankings in today's video, I can't imagine this one has any argument. Now, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, as each only take a second to do and make a massive difference. Only about 30% of people are watching are subscribed, so if you do enjoy, please subscribe to the channel. And until next time, please be safe and have a great day. Love you guys.